Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So if you guys didn't see my last video, I did a comparison between stock unequal length headers compared to the new setup with the Killer Bee equal length headers and the catted downpipe. But there was a little bit too much rasp, which a lot of people are saying, which I expected because I thought the same thing. But I'm here to remedy that in this video. So if you don't know, what I'm running is Killer Bee equal length headers, which are coated in Swain Tech. I'm running a Grimspeed limited catted downpipe, and then it goes to the Delta Motorworks catback, which has no resonators, no mufflers, anything. So it's very loud and around 2,500 to 3,000 RPM, it gets a little bit raspy. One of the awesome things about the Delta Motorworks catback is the midpipe actually comes in two sections. So you can either run a non-resonated midpipe or you can run a resonated midpipe. So basically they're interchangeable. You can swap back and forth. You don't need to get a whole entire midpipe to change it up, which is a really, really nice option from Delta Motorworks. Delta Motorworks had one of these laying on the shelves and I was like, hey, do you mind if I snag that from you guys? I really want to test it out and see how much it helps with the rasp and everything and kind of tone things down a little bit. So they were gracious enough to sell this to me and I picked it up. They sent me all new hardware, new clamps, a few stickers and everything. So that is what we're going to do in the video tonight. It's nothing crazy, nothing complicated. It's literally 2 bolts on the downpipe and then 1 clamp on the second part of the midpipe section, and then swap them out, put new gaskets and everything in, and we'll be set to go. I'm gonna jack the car up, and then we're gonna get to removing the non-resonated part and swap it in and see how much different it is. I'm hoping for it to tone down the rasp just a little bit. I really do like the aggressiveness of the equal length with the current setup, but toning down the rasp a little bit and bringing back some tone is definitely going to greatly benefit this exhaust setup that I'm running on the car. I think a lot of you are going to like this version a little bit better. A lot of people are saying it sounds like a Honda now, which it does a little bit, but honestly, it's one of those things that's really, really hard to convey on camera and in video. You just have to hear it in person to really understand just how awesome it sounds. It sounds super aggressive. To me personally, I think it sounds a little bit better than unequal length. But that's just me. You know, everybody has their preference, which is totally fine. I love unequal length. Obviously, it's the Subaru sound. But to me, I'm more into the motorsport aspect of Subaru. So all their rally cars and everything, all their World Rally Cross, all that, they all have equal length headers. If you hear those things in person or even on video, you'll understand what I mean. This is exactly, you know, what it sounds like. It sounds like a super aggressive rally, you know, race car, which I personally like. But either way, I don't think you could go wrong with unequal length or equal length. The main reason that I went to equal length headers is for reliability. It's better for the motor. It's better to keep things cooler. It's just overall a much better option if you want your EJ motor to last, especially if you're modified and you're going for a little bit more power than stock. It's definitely a good route to go. You can get away with unequal length, no question about it. But after driving with equal length, there's no question about it that the car is much happier. It revs much quicker. I mean, the car is way faster to begin with. But it overall just feels peppier, it just feels better. And I just like the overall driving dynamics with this setup over the unequal length header. So let's go ahead, let's jack the car up. Let's get that thing on and see what the difference is. Alrighty, so we got the car jacked up, ready to go. We got lights underneath. So there's enough space to reach under here. It's just that clamp right there. It's gonna be 2 bolts on this flange right here, which is super easy to get to. If you notice, kind of hard to see, but the clamp is a little bent. Actually, one time when I was driving about a year ago, there was a branch in the road and there was no way for me to actually get around it because there was oncoming traffic, so I had to run over it, and it actually kicked up and hit the exhaust right there. So I've been curious to see the well, not necessarily damage, but just to see what kind of carnage happened when I did that. That was over a year ago. You know, the exhaust has been totally fine. There's been no issues, but all that's getting replaced with the new resonated section. So let's go ahead, let's get this off and throw the new one on. All right, so this is what we took out, literally just a straight pipe. And this is what we were replacing it with. Same exact thing, just with a pretty big resonator on it. So it's got a flex pipe on both of them, so it can adjust and you know, position everything correctly. But I was looking at the damage when I hit that branch. If you look over here, there's a dent on the flex pipe. We have a pretty decent dent on the clamp over here. This is actually a new gasket that was put on with my new downpipe from Grimspeed. I do have the exact same one. They're, you know, cheaper gaskets, but I have a new one that I'm gonna throw on that came with the resonated section. But yeah, I got all new bolts and everything too. So simply just going to reverse what I just did. This one is much lighter, obviously, because it doesn't have that big resonator there. I am going to see what the clearance is like, because this is going to hang a little bit lower than this. So we shall see if I run into any issues. If anybody is curious, this is how it connects. That is the downpipe right there, the catted Grimspeed downpipe. And then right there is the second section of the Delta Motorworks mid-pipe. So that's the clamp style. It literally just slides right over that little lip right there on that end. And this side just uses the basic flange with a gasket. This one, you don't need a gasket on it since it seals with the clamp style. All right, guys, so we got the mid-pipe on. As you can see, all bolted up. Goes back right to the clamp right there. Super clean. The resonator does hang low, so I'm curious to see if I run into any issues. Thankfully, the places that I drive, I'm very familiar with, so I shouldn't have any problems. So let's go ahead and get this lowered on the ground, start it up, and see just what it sounds like. Clearance on that resonator is pretty close. I'm honestly probably about, I would say about 2 inches from the ground. Pretty sketchy. So we shall see how it fares, you know, with everywhere that I drive and everything. But I'm definitely probably gonna have some issues with clearance, you know, just overall, because if I hit a big bump, that's gonna be not a good day. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it sounds, see how it fares. But I might have to look into some other options in terms of a resonated catback, because this might be a little too close. So we will see, but I'll definitely report back once I get some seat time with it and see what I think. All right, guys, so I went out for a little drive just to test the sound and everything and clearance, and unfortunately it's just not going to work. It sounds really good. It actually sounds very similar to the previous setup with the unequal length headers, which I like. It gets rid of basically all the drone, all the rasp that I had with the straight pipe section in there, but unfortunately the clearance is just, it's too close. I've actually scraped you know, very minor on a few, you know, very small bumps, you know, going 30-35 miles an hour. So I can only imagine doing much quicker speeds and then actually hitting a big dip, what that would actually do. So what I'm going to do, I believe, is I'm first off going to take off the resonated section that I just put on and put the non-resonated section back on. I don't want to cause any issues. You know, if I hit a bump or something could severely get damaged, so I don't want to do that. I'm gonna go home and swap that out. But what I think I'm actually going to do is actually sell this exhaust. And the reason for that is with the non-resonated piece in there, it's just a little too raspy for my liking. You know, I'm one of those people that really likes to perfect the exhaust sound. Now that I changed a few things up, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of start trying some different exhausts and everything and kind of perfecting that exhaust note with the equal length headers. So what I'm first going to do is actually sell this exhaust. I actually already have a buyer for it, so anybody that is interested, you don't need to hit me up because it's already been purchased. But I think I'm going to pick up the Cobb titanium exhaust. It may be a little too quiet for my taste, but I've actually only heard it with unequal length. So I'm curious to hear what it sounds like with the equal length. I think it's going to sound pretty good. It's definitely going to have a really good note, but I'm not sure if the volume is going to be where I want it. So we'll see how that one is. I think I'm going to try that. Another one that I wanted to try was the AWE Touring, but right now that one is on back order pretty much everywhere. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that. Another one that I always wanted to try was the NVIDIA R400, but I'm not really sure if I want to, not necessarily downgrade, but go to something that's not as quality as something like Cobb or Delta Motor Works, or something like that. I'll keep with the same motto that of how I modify this car, and just using high quality, really nice manufactured and fabricated parts. So I think I'm going to go home and order the Cobb Titanium. Hopefully I can find one in stock and get it here soon so I can swap that out and see what I think. I guess welcome to the exhaust series saga. Looking for a new exhaust and trying to figure things out. I love the Delta Motor Works. I'm kind of a little sad to see it go, but honestly it's just a little too loud, a little too raspy with my current setup, and I just prefer the overall sound with the equal length. So I'm not really willing to risk the benefits of having equal length just for sound. So we're going to start there with the Cobb Titanium, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, so it is quite a few hours later. Obviously, we're in the garage. I ended up removing the resonated mid pipe that I was talking about. I only ran this for literally a day, just to get a sound for it, which you guys just heard in a few clips. I wasn't even really willing to do any sound clips on the inside, just because I couldn't really drive that hard because I was so afraid of actually hitting it on the ground. And that's obviously, I could raise my car. I could, do some fixes and stuff here to get it to run it. But it's just not worth it. I like the way the car sits. It's just not worth doing all that work, getting alignment and everything just to get a muffler or an exhaust to fit. So took that off. I put the straight pipe piece back in just for now, since I want to drive it tomorrow. But I did order the Cobb Titanium exhaust. I'm going to see how that is. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I really wanted to try it. I want to check it out and just experience it. So I ended up getting it anyway, just, so I can make some videos for you guys and kind of get a good opinion and idea of what I think of it. But I think it may be a little too quiet for me. Even with this muffler, it quieted down the entire exhaust system, the whole car, so much. I couldn't believe how much it, changed the sound just from that. Granted, that is a pretty big resonator or muffler. It really just cut down on all the rasp. It cut down on all the drone. And it literally took the volume from like a 10 all the way down to like a 5, which is pretty impressive just for that little piece. But in my logic behind it is the Cobb Titanium. There's only just 2 mufflers on the back. And on the mid pipe, there's a very, very, very small, skinny resonator on there. So that should help a little bit. Also, titanium has a little bit different sound than normal stainless steel. So it should add a cool little sound to it, which I'm hoping it will amplify the overall noise and sound and tone of my setup. So we'll see how that turns out. If not, I'll get rid of it and I'll try the AWE Touring. And there's a couple others that I would like to try as well. But I'm really, really on the hunt to kind of perfect this sound with the equal length headers. And this is fun for me, so it's not like I'm sitting here just wasting money and, just doing it just to do it. I enjoy the pursuit of this and trying to find that perfect sound, because a lot of people just don't end up doing it. They just get one exhaust and, that's it. I like to test. I like to get my own opinion before I really, say anything. So I actually picked the Cobb Titanium exhaust up from RT Tuning. They had one in stock. Actually, they had a couple, I believe. And it's only going to take a day to get here, so it's actually going to be here tomorrow. I'll have a video of the install at least, probably next week, maybe Monday or Wednesday, I don't know, depending on how busy the weekend is and everything, we'll see. I'm gonna go out, give you guys a good idea of what it sounds like, do some exhaust clips and everything, some in-car driving and all that to give you an idea. But I'm looking forward to it. Always wanted a titanium exhaust. Of course, the Tomei is the other titanium that you would think of, but I'm not a big fan of single exit on this car. I don't think it looks right. It sounds good, but it's just not my thing. I prefer the quad tip, so and it's also really nice. You can see the titanium on the exhaust tips, which is really nice as well. So that's gonna look kind of cool with the lapis blue. I think it's gonna blend in well and add a whole other look to the rear end. So that is my conclusion with the Delta Motor Works exhaust. Who knows, maybe I'll pick one up down the line if they start fabricating new ones again. But I enjoyed my experience with it. I had it for about 4 years. It was just time for a change. I really wanted just to try something new. And especially with the new setup, I really want to kind of perfect this since I'm absolutely loving how the car is feeling and everything about that. So I'm looking forward to this new venture, this new exhaust venture, and kind of taking you guys along with it and letting you guys know what I think. And hopefully we'll find something cool. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.